The endgame has some cool twists in Anthem that we're very excited about.
There's something big on the horizon that is different, that you haven't experienced before, that will kind of change how you play the game.
Developing content for Anthem's live service is a huge endeavor.
Ultimately, we just want to do what is right by the game and right by the players who play the game. It kind of changes as you go on. Okay, I've picked my favorite javelin. Now I want to play it the way I want to play. Here you're kind of finishing the critical path story, you're playing with friends, you've kind of worked out what the game is. And that's where the kind of end game would start.
I think if you look at Anthem's end game, it's really about that pursuit of gear and the overall experience of growing your character and your javelin and making it what you believe in and what you really feel strongly about reflects your own personality.
And that curve and that evolution of power is something that's really important to the game. So although you start out in these amazing suits, we want you to feel like after 60 hours or after 80 hours that you're much more powerful, much more heroic than you were when you started.
Players will be trying to say, hey, how can I become more powerful by pushing against this really challenging content?
And then tie into that new ways where the progression will advance. And I think the players are going to be super excited about that.
And so there are things like strongholds and legendary contracts, and that's all about introducing you to doing some of the hardest content in the game and making players understand, how do I make a build or a loadout for my javelin that plays really well with 3 other javelins so that we can push harder and harder content. And as we're working out all these synergies, we're kind of getting ourselves prepared for whatever comes next. And then that's where the live service comes in. The world of Anthem is ever changing. It's this evolving world. And that again is the Anthem, the shape of technology, the factions that exist. You couldn't ask for a more open slate of where to take the story next.
You'll see some neat ways and cool ways that we're going to adapt the story and grow the story over time.
So we work out in advance, what are the big beats in the direction that we want to go? And then from there, it's the job of the rest of the team to say, hey, how do we fill in the details so that we kind of hit these beats, but in a way that supports, fun gameplay and an immersive world and great progression and good systems in a social way that players will play together.
We can expand that experience over time, both narratively, but also with systemic content updates and game systems that make the progression amazing and make people want to come back and be part of the experience for a very long time with their friends.
You can say, oh wow, you want to do this? Oh, then we should probably make this creature. Oh, we make that creature, what would be really fun? We could add this gameplay mechanic. That would be really cool, because then when you fight the creature, it's cool, and that's in the context of the story, and that's really great. Hey, but why do I want to do that? Well, what if we add this system to progression that as you use this new mechanic to kill this creature in the context of this story, you earn this thing that sounds really cool. Oh, that would be really fun. And then it all kind of just gets filled in a way that creates this plan, and then that plan, changes over time. We see how players play the game, they give feedback, we look at the plan. Sometimes the plan is great, sometimes the plan is less great, and if it's less great, we change it and we adjust. Ultimately, we just want to do what is right by the game and right by the players who play the game.
We want to do a lot more customization, a lot more weapons, a lot more gear, great things for the players to chase. We really look at Anthem and the world that it sits in as chaotic and ever-changing, and we want to reinforce that with the types of things that players are able to get as well.
I think it would be really neat if there is some part of the game for everyone where they feel like, hey, this is something that I haven't experienced before, or it's done in a different way that makes this experience feel new and interesting.
I hope that when players finally get their hands on Anthem, they're going to take away ultimately the feeling of agency. They can approach this big world in a way that feels good to them, that they can play with their friends in a way that allows them to shape what it feels like. Those are the most important feelings.